Do Bronx Oliveira. Do Bronx means from the Bronx. I am from the Bronx. Oliveira. I said that this man would be champion in 2020. When I said that, everyone laughed in my face, told me I was a casual, told me I was ridiculous. I said this was the only guy who might have a chance against Khabib. I still stand by that.
Let me tell you something about Andrew. This is my boy right here. You disrespect him, you're disrespecting me.
Inside fighting. Shout out to Inside Fighting.
Let's talk about fights. Like, I feel like that's more interesting.
Yeah. I mean, we got to talk about Beneil and Charles.
All right,
because that's the fight that's carrying this whole weekend.
Right.
What's cracking, guys? So, rough week for Gervonta Davis. He finds himself back behind bars. Pretty. Messed up there. It's not cool.
Yeah,
that's rough.
Got a call out though.
I guess
from jail. He got a message out to the fans.
Yeah, and his friend. Yeah, that was good content. Shout out to Gervonta and his team for putting that content out there. A jailhouse call. That was super. I mean, I wish it was under better circumstances, but at least he still took care of the fans and got his message out. He blasted the judge. He said the judge. He said, what did he say about the judge? He said the judge was
the judge is crazy, and she was upset that he was staying in like a penthouse, or she wanted him like staying in an apartment, he said. And he said, but he was staying in at the Four Seasons.
Right. It was supposed to be like a 1-bedroom apartment with his coach, I think. Is that what he was supposed to?
So I guess the judge wanted, to serve his house arrest with his coach, his trainer, Calvin Ford. And Gervonta said he needs to house his security team, which is understandable. So he needed something bigger. And Gervonta is an A-list celebrity at this point. This guy, 4 Seasons, if he wants to stay holed up in the 4 Seasons for 2 or 3 months as a tax-paying citizen, if that's how he wants to serve his house arrest, I'm cool with it. You know what I mean? So, well, I don't know the rest of the circumstances. Does he have to stay locked up for 3 months or what?
Yeah, he has to serve it in jail. Supposedly, that's the update as of now, is that he has to serve it in jail.
That's rough.
Yeah,
you can't even post bond or anything like that.
I don't think so.
No,
but I agree with you, Cap. I think I sort of flip flop on this a little bit, because it's like, hey, rich people like get to play by a different set of rules, get to serve it at a 4 Seasons penthouse versus like serving it in an apartment. But it's like, I don't know.
He's paying for it.
You're paying. It's coming out of your pocket. Like, what does it matter? Like, if he's not, so long as he's not leaving and like causing trouble, like, who cares? But
yeah, he's not leaving. Who cares if it's the decked out suite? It's just, what's the most it could have is a jacuzzi and a TV. You can have that in an apartment. The judge is tripping, flexing their power too much, and as fight fans here, we want to see Gervonta out training, getting ready for his next fight. People don't say he's going to fight Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney. So yeah, we'll see what happens there, but hopefully Gervonta gets out soon.
Speaking of those two, did you hear Devin Haney was like, I'm not that keen on fighting Shakur Stevenson? Did you guys see that on Twitter?
Yeah,
I think it was. I thought that was interesting.
Enlighten me. I saw a little bit about it.
Yeah, Devin was like, I'm not in a rush to fight him. I feel like I don't have to fight him right now. It seemed like he wasn't big on that fight,
Well, he tried to play it off. He was saying that they're friends and that they talk every week. I don't know if he said every day, but he said they talk every week, and he doesn't see himself fighting, him right now. And he made it seem like they're good buddies, so he doesn't want to fight his buddy. But Shakur wants to fight Devin Haney. He wants those 4 bouts. So
yeah, wasn't Shakur? He was on the scene. He was on the scene talking to him after the Loma fight. He was like, "All right, it's my turn. Let's go."
Literally, Top Rank literally like set that up. Like that Shakur came up on stage into the ring for the call out. Like afterwards, they pulled an Aljo Sean O'Malley on him. Where that's what Aljo's big problem with the Sean O'Malley thing was. It was like, you just made they always talking about, you don't make the fight the night of fight night, right? But they just brought Sean O'Malley out right after I won my belt. It's kind of what they did with Shakur. My big story this week that I really personally just wanted, while we're on the topic of boxing, and I kind of want to just get your guys' take on it a little bit before we move on to this weekend's fights, is Floyd Mayweather was face-to-face with John Gotti III today. He is, obviously it's an exhibition. but they are fighting. He's fighting the son of the notorious gangster, John Gotti. And did you guys see the face-off footage today? I know Cap did. Did you see it, Timmy?
I didn't get a chance to see it, but this is kind of funny to me.
Well, Floyd was super cool. Like he was super chill. There's nothing really all that like there wasn't like any intensity to it. But the only thing that I could think in my mind was like, if I'm fighting the son of a super notorious gangster, it's like I just don't think that that's like the right situation to like start like trying to create like drama before a fight, like shit talking and stuff like that. Like I just wouldn't do that personally. Like just imagine you're fighting the grandson of like a guy that's
it's grandson. I was going to ask you.
A grandson of somebody that's known for literally assassinating somebody. I mean, he was part of an assassination, and I'm sure other stuff. I was just watching it. That's what was going through my mind. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on it.
Well, I want Timmy is, looks like he's from the mob.
He does.
You're from New York, right, bro? Do you know any mobsters? Yep. I know you're born and raised in New York. Do you have any friends that are mobsters or family members?
I have some connections in our thing. That's what we like to call it. But really? Yeah, I'm actually a full-quarter Sicilian. I'm from Morris Park in the Bronx. There's lots of mob activity there. At least there used to be. When I was a kid in the 90s. Yeah, Morris Park in the Bronx. When I was a kid in the 90s, they found a gangster in a trunk like a block away from our house. And I know it was a mob killing because he still had his rings and everything. They locked him up in a trunk. I think he was a rat or something.
What year was this?
But, it was the early 90s. I was a baby. I don't even remember the story.
Shit in the Bronx in the early 90s. Yep. I always kind of thought that got kind of ended in the late 80s because of the whole.
It was right at the tail end of it, but there was still stuff going on. In fact, my great aunt, she was from Sicily, and she used to pay tribute to the guys on Arthur Avenue, which is Little Italy in the Bronx. The mafiosos used to come. She had a food truck, a food stand, and she used to pay tribute to the mafiosos. She gave them a little percentage, and they gave her protection.
That's wow. That's
yep.
Wait, you said this was your aunt or your grandma?
It was my great aunt. It's my grandma's sister who was born in Sicily.
Wow, so she used to have to pay the mob for protection. I like that.
Yep.
Or like
everyone in that neighborhood did.
Oh, it's like a tax, mob tax.
Yep. Oh yeah.
I gotta say,
but I'll tell you what, no crime ever happened in that neighborhood. So
right. Yeah, that's a safe. Honestly, that's probably safer than most neighborhoods, all things considered.
It's a lot safer back then than it is now. I'll tell you that much.
You don't look it, but like your voice, it does sound. You sound like you could. Do you lose your accent at all from like spending so much time away from New York? Like, is it thicker when you go back there?
It's thicker when I'm drunk. When I'm drinking, it really comes out.
Oh yeah, I gotcha.
This ain't a dating show here; it's a podcast. So listen.
I just wanted to say one thing. So it was Paul Castellano. That's what John Gotti was famous for. He orchestrated the murder of Paul Castellano, and you were right, Cap. It was 1985 at the height of his powers. 1985. Yeah. So yeah, I do think it had died down by like the early 90s.
Because of what? What's the RICO law that they're still getting rappers on? But once they repo the RICO law, that's how they started taking down all the mob families
Tekashi too, right? That was part of it. Was RICO? Yeah.
Well, they've been using it.
I feel like they don't have the power that they used to back in the day. Obviously, I feel like Floyd's probably just chilling because he knows he's not in any danger. You know what I mean? He's doing this for fun at this point. He's just racking up these fun exhibitions. He said it himself, right? Like he knows he's not going to get hurt. He knows these guys can't touch him. He's just out there having fun, living his best life, rocking the Rolexes, going on the yachts. What was that private jet video that he shared with us?
So listen, from an Italian New Yorker yourself, Timothy James, are you saying the Gottis no longer have any power?
No, not to the point where they could threaten someone like Floyd Mayweather. No, definitely not.
Yeah, what does Floyd not have that the Gottis could do? Like Floyd might have more power than the Gottis do. Let's put it that way.
Love that.
Yeah. So,
hey, one more thing before we get into our picks. Sorry for cussing YouTube. Before we get into our picks, our weekend picks is what do you guys think real quick? I just want both of your opinions on what do you guys think of Jake Paul hanging out with Masvidal and that whole thing. And in the past couple of weeks, we've seen the Paul brothers with Adesanya, Volkanovski, Masvidal, and maybe I'm missing someone. But what do you guys think of that?
Masvidal's always got these frenemies, right? He's friends with Colby, and then they don't like each other. Then he was cool with Jake Paul, and now they're sort of like beefing a little bit. Are they beefing? That's what.
No, they're like
on,
homies
right?
now. It seems like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. So he got him on his podcast or whatever on his show.
Yeah.
I see.
That was like
I thought they were beefing.
they started with the fake little run-in in the parking lot. That was just a snippet. And then fast forward to today, they released some, podcasts that he was on.
The only thing that I'll say about the Jake Paul, before we move on, the Jake Paul Masvidal thing, it just feels like it was all a big staged event just so that they could bury Ben Askren's grave a little bit more. I mean, it was like they sent a photo of Jake's fist and Jorge's knee, and they tweeted it out to Ben Askren, and they were like, "Hey, you guys recognize these?" It was just beating a dead horse. So
brutal. That's brutal.
I'm not here to defend Ben Askren, but I don't think he deserves that. Ben Askren.
He doesn't. He also responded to it, by the way. I just saw like a few hours ago.
What did he say?
He said, "Oh, are you in? Like, it looks like must be you and George being butt buddies again, or something like that." I think is what he said. So,
Nice.
but yeah. So, Timmy, why don't you give us those betting odds, brother? What's going on this weekend?
All right, what do you hear? What do you say? How to fuck up your parlay? We've got UFC 289. It's not an amazing card. I know a lot of people are not hyped up on it, but we've also got some boxing. Teofimo Lopez versus Josh Taylor. So there are some interesting things going on in this fight. Why don't we get the boxing out of the way first, like we did on the podcast? Josh Taylor, undefeated. Brit, 19-0 with 13 KOs. He is a minus 200 favorite against Teofimo Lopez, who's 18-1, who also has 13 KOs and is a plus 155 underdog. Lopez is 4-1 in his last 5. He did get a split decision loss, a little controversial. I know some people feel like he won that fight, but two very talented guys. Cap, I know you know a lot about boxing. What do you think of this fight?
I don't know what the fuck you said for the most part. I just heard Teofimo Lopez, Josh Taylor, and I heard the odds, right? Give me Josh Taylor.
All right. Yeah. Josh Taylor is the favorite, minus 200. Jesse?
So this is obviously like I'm not the biggest. I'm not exactly very knowledgeable on Josh Taylor's career. I just have to preface what I'm saying before that. I was watching a little bit of the presser, and I respect
the honesty, though. I respect the honesty. But go on.
They were separated at their face-off today, which was strange. They weren't like the security wouldn't allow them near each other for some reason. It was very odd. But I was thinking the same thing.
Can you share your screen and pull that up or not?
Yeah, I can do that.
I want to check that out.
But anyways, so just in terms of who I'm picking here, I'm with Cap. I like Josh Taylor in this fight. However, I will say I'm hoping that it's Teofimo Lopez because I do like Ryan Garcia needs a fight, and he did name Teofimo Lopez as one of his potential opponents. So I would Cap, is it pending if Teo wins or loses that he would want to fight? I'm guessing wins, right?
Wins, right.
Right. So I want him to win so that the Garcia fight would have some steam just in case the Raleigh fight falls through. I want Garcia to have a good quality opponent, so that would be a good fight.
How do you say Lopez's name again?
Teofimo. Am I pronouncing it wrong?
Jesse's over here giving boxers new names. Teofimo and Raleigh. Isn't it Raleigh?
Yeah.
Teofimo. This guy says Teofimo. I love that though.
Teofimo Lopez.
Yeah. All right.
Teofimo Lopez
and
Raleigh.
So here, I'll share my screen so you guys can get a little look at this.
Hey, and Timmy, you didn't even ask me why I was picking Josh Taylor. That was pretty rude.
Yeah, Well, why are you picking Josh Taylor? Jesse just said he doesn't know a lot about him, but the dude has not fought over here. I think he has one fight in the U.S. The rest of his fights have been in the U.K. So I'm not surprised.
Yeah, he's a pretty impressive boxer, and I'm picking him because I like, you guys know my affinity for undefeated fighters. I always pick them to keep their 0. And Teofimo hasn't looked the same since he beat Lomachenko. He was, I don't know. I still don't know about Teofimo. Nice kid, but I think he thinks he's a little wiser than what he is at his age. I don't know. No beef. I like Josh Taylor. He's on a roll. I always got to bring up the Wikipedia. I got to check. He had a very impressive fight 2 fights ago. Not his last fight, but 2 fights ago. He had
Jose Carlos Ramirez. He got the unanimous decision. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah,
you're talking about the KO. He got a KO over Apanoon Kong Song. But I think the Carlos Ramirez fight is his only fight that's been in the U.S. And it was in Las Vegas.
Ramirez, yeah, exactly. That's the fight I'm talking about. Ramirez is a stud. And he beat Regis Progress. That's an impressive win. So he beat Ivan Barakchuk. That guy's good too.
I'm rooting for Teo. That's for Cap. Rooting for Teo. But I think Josh is going to win.
Okay, cool.
All right. I actually like Lopez in this fight now.
The reason why?
I just like being a contrarian. I don't like picking the guy that you guys picked. Now I'm just playing. I don't know. I feel like there's a history in boxing of these European fighters who only fight in Europe, do really well, and then they come over to America and they start fighting on a more international stage and they don't do as well. I don't know if that's a good enough reason. I think that it's a pretty close fight. The odds kind of reflect that, considering it's a boxing main event, right? And the odds are this close. You don't see that a lot anymore in boxing nowadays. I don't know. I got a feeling about Lopez. I don't got a good reason. I just think, go with the underdog plus 155. You can make a little bit of money.
He's a good underdog pick, no question about it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's beat some good guys. He's obviously got good results in boxing. I don't hate it, Timmy. I like the pick.
Yeah, and it's not just that Josh Taylor only fights in Europe. He only fights in the UK. All of his fights are in the UK. So it's like, I don't know. Maybe his that undefeated record's a little protected, which we know happens in boxing. But yeah, we got some UFC 289. I know a lot of people are not hyped up that much about this card, but I will say it's always the cards you least expect to be fire that are the most fuego. So we got Nunes and Aldana. That's the main event. Charles Oliveira and Beneil Dariush putting the card on their back. There's some other interesting fights. Why don't we get that main event out of the way? Amanda Nunes is a minus 190 favorite. Irene Aldana is a plus 140 underdog. Aldana is 4-1. Nunes is 4-1. Both 4-1 in their last 5. Irene hasn't lost since 2020 when she lost to Holly Holm, and Nunes lost to Pena in that first fight, which people consider a fluke. So, any opinions? What do we think?
Yeah, I'm not going with the MMA media or MMA fan narrative that this is a weak card. I'm the type of guys, any event they put on, whether it's a fight night, it's always fire. You turn the TV on, I don't care if it's 2 fighters I never heard about. If it's UFC, it's a different story. If it's UFC, I feel like I'm watching the Lakers. You know what I mean? So that's my personal opinion. And if I was
Good way to put it.
this Saturday night, I'd buy this main event. And also, disrespectful to Amanda Nunes there, Timmy, saying that Charles Oliveira and Beneil Dariush is carrying this card. Very disrespectful.
Beneil who?
Did I fuck up
Beneil Dariush?
I don't even know how to say his last name. That's
hilarious. Beneil that's great.
And listen, I'm not one to tell stories, but this is a pretty good story. I mean, it's an okay story. It's a story about rags to riches. Anytime I think about Beneil, I think about this time back in I'm gonna throw a year on it. I think the year is 2018, 2019. It could have been 2017. Shit. It was anywhere from 2016 to 2019. I don't think it was 2019. Let's narrow down those 2 years, 2016 and 2018. Mike Tyson was having a meetup. Well, Ali was having a Dominance MMA media day at Mike Tyson's headquarters in El Segundo. Beneil's a Dominance MMA guy, and I'm running late to the event. All the fighters are already there, and horrible parking. The parking situation in El Segundo, the streets were packed. Anyways, I'm on the street already. I'm already there, and Beneil's running late too. He pulls up in one of the worst, no joke, and this guy's a professional fighter. It was a Toyota Corolla. You know, I'm not one of car train or something, but it was a beat up Toyota Corolla. And I'm like, yo, this guy fights in the UFC. But that's what it had to be like 2016, 2017. But now he's on a run. You know, he wins this, he's about to fight for a title. So I'm very curious to see what he's whipping now. Because next time I run into him, I'm going to ask him about the Corolla days. Does he still have the Corolla?
Bro, I gotta say, just based on my experience of
is that a good story, or did I hype it up?
Yeah, it is, but I feel like watching Beneil Dariush interviews, I just feel like that makes total sense to me. I wouldn't be surprised if he's still driving the Toyota Corolla, bro. Like, he seems like a very down-to-earth guy. He doesn't seem like a guy that would drive a really flashy car, even if he had a lot of money.
Well, here's the funny thing.
Yeah, I already know. Like,
in I think it was after he beat Tony Ferguson. In his post-fight press interview, the Octagon interview, he actually called out Elon Musk. Apparently, he ordered a Tesla for his wife, and then he was like, "Hey, Elon, where's my Tesla?" I guess his Tesla never got there. Got lost in shipping or something. Hopefully, the man is driving his Tesla.
That is why I always call Jesse the MMA casual and Timmy the MMA hardcore. Just
Well, I saw that clip about the Tesla, by the way. In that same clip, he also says that I want to send this message. I dedicate this victory to everybody who's a victim of Marxism.
Yep.
And then he says, "Hey, Elon, where's my Tesla?" All in the same speech. He calls out Marxism and then wants his Tesla. So I don't know. I don't know if that's a conflict of interest in any way, but it was still it was entertaining nonetheless. So
yeah, no, he's underrated, entertaining.
I like Beneil a lot, but it's a good story, Cap. But I do believe Timmy was asking you about Amanda Nunes.
Oh yeah, we were talking about Amanda Nunes and
then we started ranting. My bad.
Yeah.
You were being disrespectful, saying they were carrying.
It's actually good. It's actually good.
You were throwing shade at me for disrespecting Amanda Nunes, but when I asked for your fight pick, you started talking about Charlie's and Beneil.
No, because you're saying, Anyways. So I'm going with Aldana here. Irene Aldana, 14-6. Amanda Nunes has 5 losses. I think she will now tie Aldana with an even 6 losses. Obviously, she has way more wins. Amanda Nunes is 22-5. Aldana 14-6. I think they're gonna go 6-6. I think I think Amanda Nunes, one of the great champions, top 10 greatest, not my top 10, but a lot of people's top 10 greatest fighters of all time. She's more in my top 15. But that's amazing. Top 15 fighter of all time. I think this is the end of her. She's very family oriented. So that motivates a lot of people too. It's a close fight. This is a betting show. Don't bet on this fight. I don't know who's going to win.
I like the pick, Cap, and if you want to go back and look at Aldana's last fight. Her win in her fight, I forget who she was fighting, a spectacular finish. It was from on the ground, on her back.
Yep.
She heel kicks to her opponent's liver and gets the KO. A liver kick KO from the ground. It was spectacular. Aldana's the real deal. I feel a little bad for Juliana Pena, who was the original opponent of this fight. She really wanted that trilogy fight. Cap interviewed her like 4 or 5 months ago. That was her. She's been chasing this fight. Got very unlucky to break her ribs leading up. So that being said, I am taking Amanda Nunes. I think that she's just so talented. I think she'll be a little too much for Aldana, because I do think Aldana had some trouble in her fight. She kind of had to get that liver kick to bail her out a little bit. And so I will take Nunes.
It was Mason.
So sorry to jump in, Timmy. But I completely apologize. And my take was idiotic, and I'm actually switching it straight to Amanda Nunes. I don't know what I was thinking. She's a goat. I think she's gonna run through Aldana. I had a complete change of heart. No, seriously. She's a goat, and I think she's gonna run through Aldana. Like I had a chance to peep Aldana's Wikipedia, and she's had the split decision loss to Raquel Pennington, unanimous decision to Holly Holm, and Amanda Nunes is a different beast. Like, this is not your, Amanda Nunes. She still has it in her.
I respect that you changed your opinion. It was just say that it was my take that changed your opinion. It's okay. You can admit it, that I was so convincing that you changed your mind.
I had already changed my mind before you started giving your take, but then your take reassured it as well.
There you go.
But
yeah, it was Macy Chiasson who she knocked out with an up kick to the liver. I don't think we're ever going to see anything like that again. Wild up kick KO to the body. That's crazy. Yeah, I'm going with Nunes. I think she wanted to retire.
What are the odds, bro?
What happened?
The odds are actually not that bad. She's like a minus 190 or something.
Yep. Nunes is minus 190 and Aldana is plus 140. So it's not a crazy.
Decent odds for somebody as dominant as Nunes has been. It's decent.
I feel like
you go for it.
I feel like the feeling around this is that Nunes wants out. Cap, you sort of alluded to that. She wants to retire. She wants to be family oriented. She said something along the lines of, I couldn't retire with Pena having the belt. That's why I got the belt back from her. So I feel like if she had beaten Pena, she was probably going to retire. And if she beats Aldana, I think she's going to retire. I don't know if she's going to retire if she loses. Brazilians are proud, so I don't know if she'd want to do that. But I'm going with Nunes. I think she gets it done, and I think she leaves the gloves in the octagon.
Cool. Okay, cool.
All right, now we got Charles "Do Bronx" Oliveira versus Beneil Dariush. This is the fight everyone's looking forward to the most. This is an absolute banger. Charles Oliveira, when the odds opened, was an underdog. Now he's a minus 130 favorite. Beneil Dariush is a plus 100. So, boys, who do you got?
Why don't you start, Timmy? We've started before you. Let's see, because you always go after us. You go first. This is your bro. This is your fucking hero, Charles Oliveira. Like,
yep.
Let's go,
Charlie.
Fuck Timmy. I got this. No, I'm just kidding. I'm bad. Bad joke.
Charles "Do Bronx" Oliveira. "Do Bronx" means from the Bronx. I am from the Bronx. Oliveira. I said that this man would be champion in 2020. When I said that, everyone laughed in my face, told me I was a casual, told me I was ridiculous. I said this was the only guy who might have a chance against Khabib. I still stand by that. And he's not losing. He's 11-1 since joining Diego Lomas shootbox. And I don't see him losing. His only loss was to Islam Makhachev, which is not a bad loss because it's Islam Makhachev. It's a very close, evenly matched fight. Man, this fight is going to be fireworks because they're both so good in so many areas. I say Charles Oliveira gets a second round TKO. I'm going TKO over submission.
Wow.
Boom.
Doesn't surprise me. What they say about two grapplers, very good grapplers, is that it always ends up being a striking match because you got two guys that are so good on the ground. Neither one of them really wants to make it about the ground. And it's just kind of naturally how it plays out with those sorts of fights. This one's very tough to pick for me. I got to admit, very tough to pick. I do think I'm leaning with Beneil Dariush. I'm leaning on Beneil Dariush for a couple of reasons here, because I think I think Charles has been through some wars. And I wonder about his confidence. I know he was saying some things about how he felt after losing to Makhachev. I wonder about his confidence, about going through some wars. He did take some damage in his championship fights from Chandler, from Gaethje. He's taken some big knocks. He's been around for a long time. I mean, he has the most submission wins. He's got so many fights. The guy has been through the fucking ringer in this game. He's an incredible fighter. I just feel like Beneil just seems like he's ready for this moment, and I just think maybe Beneil might be the one guy that can beat Makhachev at this point. I think Beneil's going to get it done, and I think it's actually I understand why you picked TKO. I actually think it'll be a decision.
No, listen, no disrespect to Charles. I've met him. You guys already know I'm picking Beneil Dariush. How do you say his last name again? Give me
Baba Ganoush. Baba Ganoush is how you say it.
Dariush.
Sometimes I have a hard time pronouncing.
Yeah, Dariush.
Dariush. I'm going with Beneil. I think like Jesse's saying, mileage on Charles. I think his best days are behind him. And one thing that always sticks out to me that a lot of people don't talk about, maybe you can give me more insight here, because I know you're the biggest Charles Oliveira fan on the planet, Timmy. But one thing I always think about is how he says that he really can't see, and that trips me out. Like, and Jesse was saying, these are two grapplers, they're going to strike it out. And if this is a striking match, I got Beneil all day, just because Oliveira's vision problems. I believe him. He wears, I think he has thick prescription glasses. Dubron, you can't even explain what his nickname means. Terrible nickname, mileage, can't see, Beneil. But give me
He got the corrective surgery before the Islam fight. He got his eyesight fixed, so he can see now.
Oh, okay. Fuck. Okay. Still, I don't believe in correcting surgeries. Like,
maybe he should go back.
He's not 20/20, is he?
I don't know what his vision is. He was blind as fuck before, though.
Yeah. He was. Listen. I know. He's a future Hall of Famer. No disrespect to him. I'm going Beneil. I think Beneil's on a hot streak right now.
Yeah,
and
8 wins in a row.
Bro, Beneil is also the spawn of the greatest meme in UFC, which is Joe Rogan and Daniel Cormier freaking out at the commentary booth. That was from a Beneil Dariush knockout. So,
right. Yeah. Well, yeah. So what are the odds on Beneil? He's the underdog at plus.
He's plus 100. So he's technically the underdog, right? Because
listen,
Charles is minus 130.
This is easy money out here. Take Beneil. He's fighting a guy with cataracts. The guy can't even see. I'm just kidding. No, he's a legend though. But Beneil whipped my ass. I mean, Oliveira. So.
Okay. We're about to run out of time. Any parlays, Timmy, that we need to come back for?
No parlays.
All right.
The Dan Ige fight and the Nate the Tank fight. That's going to be a fun one. Those guys are crazy.
That will be. That's a good personality fight right there. Good personality
fight, and those guys will throw down. That'll be a good fight too.
Let me tell you something about Andrew. This is my boy right here. You disrespect him, you're disrespecting me.
Inside fighting, Shanti inside fighting.